Your famous my accent very Scottish.
Ma, ¿cómo aprendices inglés?
Welcome back, guys. To Digital Newsroom on AAC News. The only news channel where the anchor is actively doom scrolling while he's waiting for his stream to start. Okay, guys. I'm sorry. Just nice to find the phone here. Okay. What's up, guys? How we doing today? It's fantastic day for some news. We are here today, not to discuss my dream, not here to discuss doom scrolling habits pre-stream. We are here to discuss some important events that happened over the weekend. Okay. So Monday, June 8th. A lot of ground to cover. Some of it happened recently, some of it maybe not. And once again, as always, it's a beautiful day. There's some slight overcast. I don't know what y'all got over here, but it's nice. It's nice. So as I've been saying, let's just get into it. All right. So headline number one. Iran and Israel have been exchanging strikes again. Ceasefire is not conditionally holding. So overnight Sunday into Monday, Israel has launched dozens of warplanes and has struck an Iranian air defense system. In Tehran and Isfahan and Tabriz. The first Israeli strikes on Iran since April ceasefire. Iran retaliated with missiles and drones hitting Israeli territory, including the West Bank. And Iranian airports have shut down during these exchanges. So this morning, both sides have announced halts. Iran's military said it was stopping for now. After Israel learned a lesson. Netanyahu said Israel halted attacks for now, but he also said the fight was not over. And President Trump posted demanding for both sides to stop, and they both halted within minutes of this post. This is today's segment 2. Lots to discuss there. Okay. Another story today that came in. We have an earthquake in the Philippines with a 7.8 magnitude. Pretty big. 35 dead, and a bit of tsunami here as well. So 7:37 a.m. my local time here. On Monday, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the Sarangani province in southern Mindanao, Philippines. At least 35 died, 200 plus are injured in General Santos City. The population there is about 722,000. And they've sustained major damage. There's a hospital there partially collapsed, and a lot of buildings have fallen. A 1 meter tsunami hit coastal areas, and that warning has now been lifted. It hit on the first day of school in the Philippines. Students and teachers were caught in classrooms when it struck. Full update in the lightning round. Headline number 3 today. 2 U.S. pilots were killed in a plane bound for Yadier, Molina. So Sunday afternoon, a Gulfstream G200 private jet crashed and caught fire at La Romana International Airport in the Dominican Republic. So both American pilots were killed, and former MLB All-Star catcher Yadier Molina confirmed social media the plane was on its way to Austin, Texas to pick him up and his family for a trip to Puerto Rico. Molina and his family, of course, were not on board. The cause of crash is being investigated. The lightning round will have all our details right there. Headline number 4. OpenAI is planning on turning ChatGPT into a super app. So according to a Financial Times report, citing more than a dozen current and former OpenAI employees are saying that OpenAI is planning its biggest ChatGPT overhaul since launch. So the platform would become a super app. Integrating AI agents, a coding tool, a built-in browser, third-party apps, including Canva and Booking.com. So it's from what it sounds like to me, like a mix of like Gemini and Claude. Because I know Gemini you can use Gemini can access your Canva, and Claude obviously has Claude code, which is fantastic. Its internal code name is Aria, and one senior employee quoted saying chat is dead. ChatGPT is dead, basically said. And the timing on this, OpenAI has reportedly filed confidentiality for an IPO, initial public offering, targeting up to a $1 trillion valuation. So more on that in the lightning round. And headline number 5. Mercuria profit up 88%, and the Iran war is making commodity traders rich. So Swiss energy trading giant Mercuria posted its first half profits up 88%, driven entirely by commodity price shocks from the Iran war. So this is the story that no one is talking about. So while the world is watching these missiles fly, and all this war. The commodity trading firms sitting between buyers and sellers of oil are having some of the best years ever. And this is our lightning closer, and the useful lens on who benefits with conflict stretch on. Okay, and this is the nice section here. We'll be talking about more about this Iran conflict escalation. So how did we get to last night? Oh, my microphone fell. Sorry, guys. So timeline of the broader conflict. We go through this every time. February 28th, war starts. April 8th, 2026. The ceasefire was brokered by Pakistan. April through May. Lots of jabs back and forth. Early June, we have anti-weaponization saga playing out in Washington, and the Hormuz deal was close, and oil near $94 a barrel. And then last week, Iran's negotiating team began formal suspension of talks again after Israel intensified operations against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon and the Yadier district of Beirut. And Iran's foreign minister, Araghchi, he restated that, quote, a violation on one front is a violation on all fronts. So what exactly triggered last night? Israel struck Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon and in Beirut district, and Hezbollah's political and military stronghold all over the weekend. And Iran viewed the ceasefire violation requiring a direct military response. And in the early hours of Monday, Israel launched these strikes inside Iran. And it was focused on Iranian air defense systems that have been rebuilt since the February to April war era. And Iran retaliated with missiles and drones targeting all the Israeli territory. So what happened? What were these strikes themselves? And I totally forgot to share my screen here. Yes, these are the notes, you guys. These are my notes. I'm going to show you guys my notes. I let you into my notes during these sections, okay? So the Israeli strikes, as we clearly see here, dozens of Israeli warplanes participated. And the operation focused on Iranian air defense installations that had been rebuilt since the original February conflict. And all the targets we have confirmed are Tehran, Isfahan, and that's a major industrial and military center, and Tabriz, which is in northwestern Iran and is a major city over there. And Iranian airports were shut down during these strikes, at least according to all the Iranian media. And the IDF chief, the Israeli Defense Force, their chief of staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, monitored the operation from the IAF war room, according to photos released by the IDF. And so the Iranian retaliation here. So Iran fired missiles and drones at Israeli territory, and impacts reported that the West Bank, which is an Iranian missile fragment, was visible in photos near Jericho. Patients and medical staff at Ichalov Hospital in Tel Aviv were moved to underground parking facilities as a precaution, which is a way to sort of visualize this, the signal or like the level of threat that they were anticipating. And passengers at Ben Gurion Airport hunkered during these attacks. And now, how the U.S. is responding to this. So Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, demanding both sides to stop, quote, Israel and Iran must immediately stop shooting, end quote. And within minutes of this Trump post, Iran's Qatam al-Anbiya military headquarters announced a halt. But separately, and this is the important part here, CENTCOM conducted its own action this morning when a U.S. Navy vessel disabled an oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman after it attempted to sail to an Iranian port in violation of the ongoing naval blockades. And this is from CNN/CENTCOM. Quote, U.S. forces disabled an unladen oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman on June 8th after the vessel violated the ongoing blockade against Iran by attempting to sail to an Iranian port. So that's kind of wild. And the cruise union, right, the Ford Seamen's Union of India, said that 24 Indian seafarers aboard were in distress, and this is, excuse me, a developing humanitarian issue as of this broadcast. So, what are both the sides of this conflict escalation here saying? You know, what's Israel, what's Iran? What are we saying as the United States, right? So, Iran's Qatam al-Anbiya military headquarters statement read directly, quote, following the aggressions and evils of the brutal Zionist regime in South Lebanon and the Yadier region, which took place with the support of the U.S., the Islamic Republic of Iran, having learned a lesson, is halting its operation for now. So Iran is just saying they responded to this. Israel has learned its lesson, and Iran is warning of a more severe and crushing attack if Israel carries out further acts of aggression and hostility, explicitly including in southern Lebanon. So this halt is only conditional, and the condition is that Israel will stop in Lebanon as well. And if Israel plans on striking Lebanon again, which it said it will, Iran's going to respond even harder. And this is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's statement of Israel. Quote, after Iran attacked Israel, I directed the IDF to strike military and economic targets throughout Iran. At present, the fire on this front has been halted because of the terrorist regime in Tehran was struck and it stopped attacking. So, basically, Netanyahu is just framing this as we hit them, they stopped, and then we stopped. He's not really acknowledging the fact of the ceasefire. He's just not committing to Lebanon, is all. And some of the Israeli officials' statements to NPR on condition of anonymity, Israel has agreed to stop attacking Iran, but the military will continue to operate in Lebanon. So basically, Israel has explicitly stated that it's going to keep going in Lebanon, and Iran has explicitly stated that continued Lebanon operations are going to equal more continued attacks on Israel. And this is the very core of that problem, and it hasn't even been solved or resolved. And of course, you can just weigh sort of these arguments between Iran and Israel and what Benjamin Netanyahu is saying and what Iran is out here saying. It's all really for you to decide. And so, are the U.S. and Israel on the same page here? So this morning, the New York Times published a very interesting piece asking the most important foreign policy question in this conflict, which is, are the U.S. and Israel actually aligned on what they want here? And that's a very interesting question to ask, because you see a lot of stuff recently on the internet, right? With Donald Trump saying, oh, I have Israel under my control, under my thumb in my pocket, right? I can tell him what to do. That's what Donald Trump's been saying at the least, right? But then some people like to think that's not really the case. Some people, like to think that Israel actually has us in their pocket. But of course, that's really your own opinion. I don't know how to feel about that, but... So the tension here is that the U.S. goal is to get a deal signed with Iran. And that means Iran is going to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and agree to not develop nuclear weapons ever, ever, ever. Which the U.S. has made very clear, and Donald Trump has made very clear. And he also wants to calm the region enough to bring these oil prices back down, because these oil prices are hurting our gas prices back home. Because the Strait of Hormuz is a very crucial and a very important choke point for this oil to come in. It controls so much of the world's oil, especially for Europe and Asia, and us too, obviously. And so this deal is going to require Iran to feel secure enough to agree, which means that Iran needs Israel to stop hitting Hezbollah in Lebanon. And what Israel wants is to destroy Hezbollah's capacity to attack northern Israel permanently, and to also prevent Iran from ever reconstituting its nuclear program. So these goals, while are similar, are not the same. They're not being coordinated in a way that's working. And the specific friction point here is Lebanon. And the U.S.-Iran April ceasefire has documented ambiguity. So Iran says it covers Lebanon. The U.S. says it doesn't. And this ambiguity was tolerated while the Hormuz deal seemed close. Now that the deal keeps slipping, Iran is suspending talks. And Israel is continuing its Lebanon operation. Strikes are going to keep resuming. And the ambiguity is the live wire here. And Trump has publicly said that he wants this deal. He also said the U.S.-Israel relationship is, quote, ironclad. So you can't really simultaneously pressure Iran into a deal while allowing Israel to conduct the operations in Iran. It set a precondition for halting hostilities, and that is the box this administration is in right now. So what both sides really need right now is that Iran is going to need a signal that Lebanon operations will stop or meaningfully reduce. Otherwise, the conditional halt announced this morning is going to fall apart. And by the time Israel strikes Beirut. And Israel is going to need reassurance that any Iran deal does not leave Hezbollah rearmed on its northern border. And the U.S. is going to need a deal that covers both, and it does not currently have one. And the U.S. also wants, obviously, no nuclear programs, and they want that the Strait of Hormuz open. And this is just factual tension, right? It's not really criticism of anyone here. That's just how it is, right? Okay. And that about covers that story out in the Middle East with us. So now we're gonna ask some important questions. We're gonna answer these important questions. So you might be thinking, wait, I thought there was already ceasefire since April. Why are we hitting each other again? So there was a ceasefire declared April 8th, but it has not been stable. The core problem is that Iran is defining the ceasefire as covering Lebanon, and the U.S. and Israel is defining it covering direct Iran-U.S./Iran-Israel exchanges. Every time Israel has struck Hezbollah on Lebanon, Iran has called it a ceasefire violation. And the same goes for every time. CENTCOM conducted anything defensive operations-wise in the Gulf, and Iran called that a violation too. So what exactly made last night different? Israel struck inside Iran, specifically its air defense systems. That is a qualitatively different action than Lebanon operations, and that's what triggered the direct Iranian missile response toward Israeli territory. And this is another very interesting question to ask. So Donald Trump, he posted on True Social, and Iran and Israel stopped within minutes. Is Trump actually controlling the situation? So this time is very interesting, and that's fair to observe. And Iran's halt came very shortly after Trump's True Social post. But the more precise read is that both sides were looking for a face-saving exit. Iran had demonstrated could retaliate, fired its missiles at Israel. And Israel demonstrated it could hit Iranian air defenses, and both achieved their stated objectives. Right. So Trump's post might have given them both a moment to stop without preparing to capitulate. And Trump's leverage could also be seen as real. Iran wants sanctions relief and the Hormuz deal. The U.S. maintains a naval blockade, and Iran cannot afford a full resumption of February level conflict right now. So Trump's posting did matter at the very least. It worked partly because both sides were already looking for a place to stop. And so another fantastic question is why does Israel keep hitting Lebanon if it's just going to blow up the whole deal? And Donald Trump has made this very clear. I've seen a few times on Fox News where, or at least according to them, right? Donald's getting very upset with Israel making these strikes because it's kind of blowing up their deal, right? Blowing up our deal, his deal. So I mean, whether you believe that sentiment or that story, or that narrative, that's up to you. I just think it's a very interesting. It's a very interesting concept to think about in terms of this entire situation. So anyways, to the question. So why does Israel keep hitting Lebanon the entire deal? So Israel's position on this has been stated clearly by multiple officials. And that is that Hezbollah is firing drones and missiles into northern Israel, and that is not something they are going to tolerate regardless of any border deal framework. Hezbollah has fired into northern Israel repeatedly throughout this conflict. And about over 60,000 Israelis were displaced from their home in Israel before Lebanon ceasefire took effect in April 2025. And this ceasefire has also been tested very heavily. And from Israel's perspective, allowing Hezbollah to rearm and reposition while Iran negotiates a deal with the U.S. That's going to leave Israel more vulnerable, and at the conclusion of any agreement before it. And the U.S. disagrees on this sequencing, right? But Israel's a sovereign nation making its own military decision. The U.S. has limited, very limited formal leverage to stop these operations without an explicit ultimatum that could fracture the ironclad alliance. And so this is a great question that affects. Sorry, this microphone, dude. I'm gonna get a new one. Anyways, so you might be asking, if this keeps going, what's going to happen with these oil prices? That's a topic that's always coming up when it comes to this Iran conflict. Oil price this, gas price this. These oil prices will affect your gas prices back here in America very quickly. So oil prices have been on a roller coaster throughout this entire conflict. WTI, which is the sort of you could call the benchmark we have here in America for prices. I'm pretty sure in Europe and everywhere else globally it's Brent oil, not WTI. So WTI has peaked above $100 and it's come back down to the high 80s on deal optimism, and it's been moving every new development. So this morning's events with the Iran-Israel exchange, the oil tanker that got disabled, talks still technically suspended. They're going to push prices today. As a matter of fact, we could probably pull up the WTI crude oil prices here. Let's see, crude WTI. So as we see here, right now, WTI crude oil futures is up 81. Oh, sorry, it's at 81.38, and it's up 2.42%. So if we want to compare this to yesterday, yeah. So when you see these sort of events, right, that happen, in the Middle East, or actually CNBC has it actually a bit higher than that. So yeah, CNBC has WTI crude oil here at 91.16, up about 62 cents and about 68 basis points. So yeah, it's significant. And every time you hear anything about Iran, whether it be positive or negative, you're going to see that these WTI prices, these Brent prices be affected directly every time. So that's about it for questions about this. And now it's time for our lightning round. These are the rest of the stories that we covered earlier. It's now time to talk more in depth about. So let's just get into it. Quick hits, facts. Let's go. Philippines, 7.8 magnitude earthquake, very serious. 35 have died, over 200 are hurt, and there's already a tsunami that's hitting, and it's on its way. So 7:37 a.m. local time today, which is Monday, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck offshore Sarangani province southern Mindanao, Philippines. It's one of the strongest earthquakes in the world so far in 2026. So at least 35 have died, 31 in the Sorsby region, 4 in the Davao region, per the Office of Civil Defense as of 8 p.m. local time. I'm pretty sure in my notes I meant to put. It's all right. So over 200 plus are injured and mostly damaged in collapsed buildings. And General Santos City, which is a city of about 722,000 people, sustained the most severe damages. And St. Elizabeth Hospital partially collapsed. And the Department of Public Works is actually reporting damage to General Santos City is now estimated at approximately 1 billion. I'm not generally sure what they call their currency over there, but the damage estimated in US dollars is roughly $17 million USD. So a 1 meter or 3 feet tsunami has stuck at least struck at least one coastal village in the Zamboanga del Sur, damaging six stilted homes in the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center issued regional threats, including Indonesia. So the tsunami since then, tsunami warning has been lifted by mid-afternoon Philippines time, and no tsunami threat to Alaska, Hawaii, or the Pacific territories confirmed by the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. This quake has struck on the first day of school classes over in the Philippines. They have a bit different schedule than we do here in the United States. And students and teachers across Mindanao were actually in classrooms when it hit. Good morning, America described air filled with screams and cries of students, which is no good. And this earthquake is believed to be related to the Cotabato Trench. So the Philippines actually sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire and experiences frequent seismic activity. This is one of the largest in years. And so why this is important, right? So obviously people have died from this on the first day of school. A million-person metro areas hospital has been compromised from this. A tsunami that's hit coastal communities, and the death toll is expected to rise. Rescue teams reach more areas. And the Philippines are receiving significant international aid and had a close relationship with the U.S. military. U.S. aid in the Pacific Command will be activating as response resources. And that's all the facts we have on the Philippines right now. And now we're going to go to two U.S. pilots that died in the crash. So Sunday afternoon, last Sunday yesterday, at La Romana International Airport in the Dominican Republic, Gulfstream G200 private jet took off, and the crew declared an emergency within minutes, attempted to return, missed the runway, skidded, and burst into flames. So the pilot and co-pilot of U.S. citizens were killed. They were the only people on board. And the plane had come from Puerto Rico and stopped in La Romana to refuel before continuing to Austin, Texas. So the former MLB All-Star catcher Yadier, who was 43, confirmed via Instagram the plane was bound to Austin to pick him up and his family and friends to return to Puerto Rico for a trip. And Molina was in Austin watching his son, Molina, who was also a catcher in the UIL Texas A Division 1 state baseball championship at the time of the crash. Molina said, quote, my condolences to the pilots and their families. This plane was on its way to pick me up, my family and friends in Texas to return to Puerto Rico. This is also heartbreaking, end quote. So the Dominican Institute of Civil Aviation is investigating. No cause has been determined quite yet. And for context, Yadier Molina is a 10-time MLB All-Star, two-time World Series champion, once in 2006 and in 2011 with the St. Louis Cardinals. He's a 9-time Gold Glove winner and a Hall of Fame candidate for the 2028 ballot. He retired after the 2022 season. So a bit of why this matters for you is that two Americans died doing their job. The story carries human elements about grief pilots, who are on their way to help him out, right? To get places. It raises questions about what caused the emergency that are still unanswered. The NTS and FAA will be involved given it's a U.S. registered aircraft. And that's all we have on that situation over there. Very tough stuff. Our next story here. OpenAI is planning on a ChatGPT super app with their IPO, their public offering approaching. So, per Financial Times report cited by Reuters that and more than a current dozen former AI employees that they're planning its biggest ChatGPT overhaul since its launch. Its internal code name is Aria. The redesign transforms ChatGPT from a conversational chatbot into a super app. A unifying platform that handles tasks, not just answers to questions. What's being integrated? Codex, which is a coding tool. AI agent software that acts on your behalf. Atlas, which is an AI-powered browser. OpenAI launched last October. Excuse me. And third-party apps like Canva and Booking.com. They've been confirmed as launch partners. Matter of fact, with Expedia, Figma, Spotify, and other sort of apps like that, and pilot rollout. And it's going to be led by the head of applications, Fidji, and company president Greg Brockman, and one senior employee's assessment is that quote chat is dead, meaning the chatbot era is over, and agent era is next. And OpenAI has approximately 900 million active users, but the vast majority are on the free tier. This redesign is explicitly about building a revenue model for the enterprise, empower users ahead of IPO. So OpenAI has reportedly filed confidentiality for an IPO. I think that may be. Anyways, might be typo. Maybe supposed to say confidently. But they're filed for the IPO with Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley advising very big investment banks. They're targeting a valuation of up to $1 trillion, the largest U.S. public listing on record. And the caveat is that Reuters noted it could not independently verify all the financial details. OpenAI has not officially confirmed the redesign timeline or IPO filing. And why this kind of matters for you? So if chat is dead, agents of the future, that changes the entire model of how people interact with AI, and you're not asking questions anymore, delegating tasks. And that is a fundamentally different product category. And a $1 trillion IPO would reshape the capital markets conversation around AI in the same way the iPhone reshaped mobile. It's pretty interesting to see this because well, I personally think might be out. They're trying to build kind of Claude-like app. Because Claude they have co-work, which is it's kind of like task management, automates that stuff. And it also has its own coding tool, Claude Code, and Claude is very popular. So I wonder if they're just trying to get the same sort of stance, trying to make the same kind of money that Anthropic makes with Claude. So that's just a very interesting story to look out for. And yeah, we'll see what happens as they move forward with this public offering and with this new Aria app. Okay. Last story for today. Mercuria profit is up 80%, and this war is making traders rich. So Swiss commodity trading firm Mercuria, one of the world's largest and privately held energy traders, has posted its first half 2026 profits. They're up 88% compared to the last period from the same period last year. And what's driving this is commodity price shocks that are coming from the Iran war. So oil, gas, and refined product price volatility across the Iran conflict has created enormous arbitrage opportunities for firms that can actually trade across geographies and time windows. And Mercuria is not really a household name, right? It's a Geneva-based firm that moves oil, gas, metals, and other commodities globally. It reported that it had a 1.3 billion full-year profit in 2025. First half 2026 profit alone is approaching that number after jumping 88%. The broader pattern here is that when geopolitical crisis spikes commodity prices, all of the major trading houses like Mercuria, Glencore, and Trafigura, and Vitol are often the biggest beneficiaries, and they make money on volatility, not stability. So in 2022, after Russian invasion of Ukraine, and how that spiked some prices, Glencore posted a record $17 billion of profit. And Europe posted $7 billion. So these commodity traders made more from energy prices more than energy companies ever did. And 2026 is shaping up to be a bit similar. So the Iran war has kept oil above pre-conflict levels for 3 months. So every day this continues is a day. It's a profitable trading environment for firms like Mercuria. And why this matters for you? So this is the hidden financial architecture of geopolitical conflict. These missiles are visible. The commodity trading profits are not immediately visible. So when oil spikes because of a tanker that can't move through the Strait of Hormuz, someone's on the other side of that trade making money. And knowing who profits from stability is a part of understanding how these conflicts persist. Okay. Boom. That's all the news for today that I have prepared. There's a lot of more. There's always news coming out. There's probably some more news that during this broadcast. So we'll work over here on AC News, getting some reports out, and make sure everything's updated. Stay tuned for all those things. Tomorrow on Wednesday we'll be back here at 12 o'clock on Digital Newsroom. Same format as always. Just reporting the news, getting everything straight. Making sure you guys are informed for your everyday lives because you guys should be informed because That's how you make decisions, right? You can't make decisions on anything without information. Or if you do, that's very interesting, and you're a very brave person. So yeah, like I said, thank you for whoever came to the stream to watch this. It's a great program. It's a great program, and we're gonna go big, go far. And it all starts with the viewers. So thank you to all of our supporters and all our viewers. So with that being said, I hope we all have a wonderful Monday. Once again, it's a beautiful day. And we'll be back here on Digital Newsroom at 12. If you like what you see, please drop a follow our Instagram AAC official to get the most simple and accessible news just straight to your feed as it comes out. No having to go to a website, go here. You just hop on Instagram like you would usually, and boom, the news is just right there, and it's so nice and accessible. So yeah, if that's what you're looking for, give us a follow. We're gonna be here forever. All right. So thank you to everyone for coming in today. Hope we all have a wonderful Monday. And remember, this is all for you to decide. That's our slogan. So have a wonderful day, guys.